Welcome to the Jackson Strength Podcast, a podcast for athletes of all ages striving to be their best as an athlete and in life. I'm your host, Crystal Jackson, former Pro Beach volleyball player turned lifestyle and strength and conditioning coach. Each week, we will bring you someone inspiring and motivating to support you in discovering what it takes to succeed as an athlete and to become the greatest version of yourself. Today, I have very special guest, Jackson Strength adult athlete Erich Hasselmann. Erich just completed his first Spartan race this past weekend up in LA with our head trainer Jeffrey Ty and youth athlete Michael Klein. Erich shares with us his experience of preparing for the Spartan race at the gym, as well as how much easier it was than he was expecting and what his mindset was to get through the race. I'm so honored to have Erich on the show, as he has been a longtime Jackson Strength athlete, along with his daughter Annie Hasselmann, who plays volleyball for UCSB. All of this and so much more in today's episode. Welcome, everybody. This is episode number 2 of the Jackson Strength podcast. Today, I have an actual athlete of Jackson Strength, Erich Hasselmann. He is one of our strong adult athletes. So welcome, Erich. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me. Well, good morning.
So Erich just completed his first Spartan race with our trainer, Jeff. And I asked him to be on today because I really just wanted to get your experience of the Spartan race. I did one last year and I'll share bits and pieces of it, but I just want to hear from you, what did it take? Like, I know Erich did not want to do a Spartan race a year ago, and I don't even know how. Somehow we got you to do it. So I would love for you to just share a little bit of like the history of, why you even signed up, and then share your experience.
Sure. So I guess about 4 or 5 months ago, one of the other adult athletes in my age range, in the 50s, said, let's get an old guy team and we'll do the Spartan race. And I said, I don't think so. That's a bad idea. And he kept on me. And so finally I signed up. And then it turns out that he had other things come up, so he didn't even go on the race. And so it was Jeff, myself, and one of the other student athletes. And I think together, Jeff's age and his age still didn't equal my age. So we were kind of a mixed team. It was a lot of fun. Jeff and Luke definitely tailored my training for the last 3 months to the types of things that we would see in the race. And it wasn't that hard. It was really, like running a 5K almost. I mean, I think it was 5 miles, maybe it's a 10, almost a 10K. Okay. My goal was not to break a record or do that great. I looked in my age group, 50 to 55, there were 27 people and I came in 22nd. So awesome. I wasn't exactly at the top, but I just wanted to finish. I kind of had the Forrest Gump mentality, and I had adopted this mentality 3 years ago when I wanted to do a half marathon, which was when I felt like running, I ran, and when I felt like walking, I walked, and I just kind of, got through the race that way. And it was the same thing for the Spartan race. The first part of it was all uphill mountain trails. And so I just, walked the steep parts, ran the flats, and conserved my energy so that I could get through the whole thing. And it actually was easier than I thought. I wasn't as tired at the end. So I probably shouldn't say this, but I probably could have expended a little bit more energy during the race than I did. If I could have had a faster time and maybe not come in 22nd in my age group, but it was still a lot of fun. Jeff did a great job in prepping me for the different obstacles. We went last weekend up to a specialty training place in Oceanside, and they practiced the spear throw, and I nailed that one. So that was a free 30 burpees I didn't have to do. Which,
by the way, like 99% of people miss the spear throw. So when Jeff told me that, I was like, are you kidding me? I was so impressed, because I missed 3, and that was one of the 3, and it was not even close. Like, hit the dirt like 20 feet in front of it. I mean, it was embarrassing. So I just want to acknowledge you for making the spear throw, because that
was the best one.
Yes.
It was the least amount of effort, and it saved 30 burpees.
Yeah. Now, how many obstacles did you not complete?
I had to do burpees on 4. So I got a bad left shoulder. So I knew that a lot of the overhead ones, like the rings and the bars and that, were going to be tough. And so the first one, which was the sort of the horizontal bar, and then you transition to the ropes with the knots on them.
Oh, brutal.
That one, I didn't. And so here's another tip for everybody. I went online, and on YouTube, there was this 10 tips for any first-time Spartan racer. And the guy gives some good advice, but one of them he said is go get some some cheap workout gloves, leather palm gloves will save your palms. Worst idea ever. I couldn't grip anything.
Really?
So I slid off of the first part of the bar. So I didn't even get 5 feet down and I fell off. So I had to do burpees for that one. And then on the bag pull and the rope climb, both of those, I was slipping. I fell. I know I could have done both of them, but because of the dumb gloves. So those were 3. And then the Z wall. I think Jeff is the only one that can do the Z wall because he's kind of, ninja warrior that way. My legs are too long. They start hitting the wall, and then I end up falling backwards. I lose my grip, and so those were the 4: the overhead climb, the bag lift, and the Z wall and the rope climb. The rope climb is the one that's the most frustrating because we practiced that in the gym, and I could do that over and over and over. And those stupid gloves, I had no grip, and I just couldn't get up. And what I wanted to do, if they would have given me a do-over, I would have just taken the gloves off, and I could have gone up it. But you get one try, and so.
Yeah. Well, and so for everyone that doesn't know, 2 things. Jeff is our general manager at Jackson Strength. He is, when Erich says he's a ninja, he truly is a ninja. I watch him work out. He has the craziest workouts, and he's competing to do Ninja Warrior. So he really is a ninja, and I just admire him so much. And then second, for everyone that doesn't know, every time you miss an obstacle for a Spartan race, you do 30 burpees. So I would love for you to share with us, how was the burpees experience? Because that shit is hard. Whether you practice or don't practice, it is hard.
So Jeff taught me the way to sort of do the easy burpees, where you kind of do the inchworm. You kind of worm up and down, and it's not like a full-on, plank push-up. The worst part was on one of them. I think it was after the bag pull. The area where I was doing the burpees had all these tumbleweed pieces, and so I put my hands down. I get all these burrs in my hand. So the burpees weren't the part that hurt. It was pulling those stickers out of my hand afterwards. The burpees wasn't that bad. I think if I were trying to compete and run really fast, I would have been really mad because it slows you down. And in fact, there were a bunch of groups of young kids and, the whippersnappers, as I would call them, that were passing me on this downhill before the spear throw. We get down to the spear throw, and I see all those guys doing burpees because they missed it. And I know the spear throw and kept going, and they didn't catch up to me until the second to the last obstacle, the Atlas ball carry. So
that's awesome.
If you want to run fast, then you need to focus on not doing the burpees. For me, it was, as long as I don't have to do, I don't know, there's 20 obstacles times there's anything under 600 burpees for me would have been a good goal, because that means I at least passed one obstacle.
Yeah, you only did 120, and that's still a lot. And I mean, that's a lot of burpees.
Yeah, they were spread out. So that was another good thing, is that it wasn't all 4 obstacles in a row.
Yeah. Well, I know. So the 3 that I missed was.
It was a lot of fun though.
Oh, it's kind of the, I call it hurts so good fun, like the dog sled in the gym. It like, you hate it. And I know you use the dog sled all the time, but it's like, you hate it. But when you're done, it's like this total natural high. That's incredible. At least was my experience. And I'll tell you a little story of mine. Curtis and Jeff had done the day before, and they went out, and it's like a beautiful sunny day. Not for me. My day was cold, windy, and rainy. So, and we were in Temecula. So you're going up these hills, and the top of the hill, it's raining, and it's like whipping rain in your face. And,
yeah.
And like after 1 mile, my knee starts to hurt, like the side of my knee, like my IT bands. And I know that, like, long distance running for me, I still haven't figured out what it is, something that's tight. It's probably my hips, but something tight on me. And so I get knee pain, but I have one of my coaches in my head, like, just keep pushing through it. The knee pain will go away. And then you plunge yourself in the water. So then it's already cold outside, and then you plunge yourself in water. I'm shivering. I'm crying pretty much the whole way through. Like, excuse my language, but why the fuck am I doing this? Like, why am I doing this? But 2 really cool things came out was, why am I doing this? And it was, to prove to myself that I can do it, and to show my kids that I'm a very strong mom, and, like to challenge myself. So 2 very good things came out of it. But the 3 that I missed was the spear throw. And so that was halfway in between. But in the beginning was, I think, the one similar to yours, where it was like, it was a metal handle and then a rope, and I was so close. I was like 2 away, and my hands, it's like raining, and my hands just slip.
Oh, yeah.
And then I did the bag that you were saying. I completed the bag. I completed the rope climb, which I'm just going to make a little note. Curtis did not complete the rope climb. Just saying. I was very proud of myself for completing.
I feel much better about not completing it then either.
Right? So he had to do 30 burpees too. So I was very proud when I came home and I was like, oh yeah, I did that easy. But then after that, so you blow out your forearms, and then the last one was like another kind of rope, or like going from rope to rope with knots, and my hands just, like, I couldn't even turn on my car when I got to my car. And I don't know how your guys' was, but it was, you finished the race and I was out of there. I didn't know anybody. I'm freezing cold. And then you had to walk like another mile to get to your car. And I go to my car, and I literally had to take my hands, both hands, and flip it over. And it took like 4 tries for me to actually turn on my car.
Two-handed starting your car. Yeah. Ours only had 3 obstacles in the first 2 miles. Basically, you start out in the flat area, and they had a couple of, jumping obstacles, a couple walls. And because I was, and here's the other thing is that Jeff and Jeff and Michael were together, and they had to use the restroom, and I was doing some other stuff. And so we were separated at start. So I didn't know, when I was in the 8:15 group that we were supposed to be in, or the 8:30 group. And I thought maybe they were at the front of the group because I came in late. And so Sue, my wife, was trying to look at and see if they were up in front of me. And she comes back, she goes, I don't see them. So I didn't know if they were in the group or they were behind me, or they had, they were looking for me. But then they said, they blow the gun. So I just started running and jogging. And I figured I'll run slow. So I ran the whole race by myself. I didn't even run it with Jeff and with Michael.
Oh, no way.
But I was running slow enough. I figured, well, if they're behind me, they'll catch up. And so I just kind of jogged. And at some of the obstacles, there were some women who were having a hard time, and you're allowed to help. So I just stood there and flipped people over the obstacles for a bit, and then, would jump it myself. And so going out, it was pretty calm. And I wanted to, and I also thought it was going to be 3 miles. And it wasn't until they got ready to start us, they said, oh, it's 5 miles and 20 obstacles. I was expecting it to be 3 miles and 15 obstacles. So it was a little bit longer than I expected. And it was all uphill. We went from Lake Castaic down at the lake base up to this top of this peak, probably 1,000 feet up for 2 miles. The whole first 2 miles was nothing but up. And there were guys that were like killing it, trying to race up. And I'm thinking to myself, you got 3 more miles when you get done with this, save it. And coming down, one of the things when you were talking about, the atmosphere, going up, all I could see was the hill. And I'm just like, one foot in front of the other, just keep driving. And I'd stop.
Oops, hold on.
They would come sprinting by me.
There we go.
They would come sprinting by me, and then they would rest, and I'd pass them again. And they would sprint by me and rest. So I tried to just keep it on, the same cadence. And when I got to the top and turned to come back down sort of the other direction, you could see the lake and the whole area up around Lake Castaic is beautiful. So I just kind of looked at the scenery. Everybody else was running down the hills. And I also knew, I'm old enough to know my knees are bad. And so I knew if I ran downhill, they would just, I wouldn't finish the race. So I just kind of shuffled and went down the hill at a good pace to save my knees. And it let me look around, and I was actually enjoying the scenery. I was like, wow, we're really high. I hadn't realized we had climbed this high, and it was fun. And I don't know, my goal was just to finish the race. I wasn't real happy about having to do this about 2 weeks beforehand. After through the race, I was like, this is pretty cool. I should enjoy this. So I just, switched that switch in my head and said, I can do it. I can look at it half empty or half full. And if I look at it half empty, I'm just going to be miserable for the rest of the day. So I might as well look at it half full. So I had a good time. I was, enjoying it. We got to the sandbag carry on the hills. It was much easier because the sandbags were tiny compared to what's in the gym. It's like, man, and I was thinking that today. So today, working out, I had the big 80-pound bag, and I'm like, this thing is a lot heavier than the Spartan race. So it was
awesome.
It was one of those things where the more obstacles we went through, and I knew there was going to be water. The water was, for me, once the water hit, I was like, okay, I'm going to crush the rest of this race. There was still about 10 obstacles to go. The spear throw, the rope climb, the log carry, the Atlas ball, a bunch of the, kind of heavy lifting ones were coming up. And the water was so cold that it was like an instant wake up. At 4 miles, it just like put me back, reset me to zero. And that was actually, they placed, in my mind, they placed that perfectly, because I was starting to feel, it was after the bucket carry with all the gravel.
Oh
And
yeah.
my hips were hurting me, my back was sore, and I was like, oh man, I got 10 more obstacles. Went through that water and I was ready. I was a new unit.
Wow, lucky you. My water was like maybe obstacle 5 or 6, like in the
Uh,
very beginning. So your shoes are soaking wet.
yeah.
So I would love to know, like, what was your mindset? Like, you kind of talked about a little bit of your mindset before the race, like you didn't want to do it during the race. I know you're enjoying the view, but what did it take from a mindset perspective of like, what was it? Was it, like, okay, I'm just going to complete this. And I know, yes, you want to complete it, but do you know what I'm saying? Like for me, it was, I had to get a why for me to complete the race. Like I had to get a really strong why of why I was doing it. I'd love to know your
Mhm.
mindset.
So I think my mindset was really to complete the race and enjoy it, and just be present in the moment, and not to stress about, am I going too slow, too fast, what's the next obstacle. I didn't think about which was coming up, what was coming up next. Oh, I haven't done this one yet, is it going to be, because that's just too much stress. I was just kind of, hey, keep going, how's the body feeling, do you want to take a break? At every water stop, have some water, are we feeling okay? And it was just sort of checking the machine and making sure I was okay. And I felt good. And so I just kept going. And there was times where I would, just power up a hill, and then I'm say, do I want to walk this flat part or just sit and rest? And sometimes I would just stand there, put my hands on my head, or, walk. There were a couple times where when I was running, my left shoulder, the bad one, was starting to ache. And I think it was just because, it's putting a lot of stress on the muscles. So I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to run. I'll just walk, but I'll put my hands on my head. And that took all the stress off my shoulders. And so it's like, all right, I'm fine with this. So I didn't have a lot of pressure on me
Yeah.
to go fast. Or I think if Jeff had been there and Mike had been there and they were with me and running faster, and I felt like I was the weak link slowing people down, I would have been a lot more stressed, and it wouldn't have been as fun a race. Because it was just me, I was just kind of enjoying it and living in the moment.
I love it. I love it. I think it's a very motivating race. It really proves it's dedication to yourself. It's starting something, completing it, and it's hard. It's,
Yeah.
like in life, we're always going to have obstacles that jump up in front of us, and it's, how do we take it? Do we take it and we look at it? Like for me, the scariest ones, I don't know if you guys had it, but it was this pyramid like this of like netting. Did you guys have that
Mhm.
one?
Yep. Yeah. The cargo nets.
Oh my gosh, scared for my life. And I'm going up it, and there's this man, this like huge man next to me that's charging up. So every time someone takes a step, I mean, you're like
Yep.
swaying. And so I'm gripping on for dear life. And, but when I completed it, I was like, oh, it wasn't that bad. And that was, a big mind shift for me, going like, okay, I was like scared for my life to fall however far it was. And just to
Yeah.
complete it was like such an amazing accomplishment. So
Yeah.
thank you, thank you, Eric, so much for sharing your experience with us. And from what I've heard, that you're going to get your whole team enrolled in doing the next one. Is that correct?
Yeah. My wife, Sue, and I were talking about getting our whole family to do it next year. We usually do a holiday trip, and instead of doing it every other year, we do a holiday trip. Instead of doing the trip, we're thinking we're going to do the Spartan race. And so we'll have the
Love it.
Sue and I and the 3 daughters and the son-in-laws and the boyfriends do it with us.
Perfect. I love it so much. So just to kind of complete this
It'll be
here.
a family bonding experience.
Oh, total family bonding experience. I absolutely love it. So I'd
Yeah.
love for you to share, like, what would be your number one takeaway for people today? Like, what's the biggest thing that they can learn, from your experience of doing a Spartan race?
Um, I think, be focused in the present. Don't stress too much about what's up in front of you, the next obstacle. And, don't think too much about the last obstacle, whether you've made it or not. It's done, and you just move on, and just sort of be grounded in what you're doing now, and make sure that you're, focusing on the best that you can do at that particular moment.
I love that, because it's just such a parallel for life. It truly is. It's beautiful. What would you say are your 3 keys to success and abundance? And abundance not necessarily mean just money, but like having an abundant life.
Mm-hmm. I think it's, again, trying to be focused and grounded in the present and understand what you have, what's going on. I think it's also a sense of gratefulness. I mean, I'm truly blessed to have an awesome family and wonderful friends, and we take so much for granted of what we have. And sometimes, being grounded in the moment helps you to look around and be really grateful for what you have. And then I think the third thing is to make sure that you can try to share that with other folks, whether it's through talking with them, or just calling a friend up, or volunteering time, or whatever each person wants to do. But to be able to, I guess the cliche is pay it forward, but share the blessings that you have with everybody else as well.
I love that. So be present, be grateful, and pay it forward. Be a giver. That's what I hear you saying. I love that. And then what has been the best thing that you've ever committed to in your life that's made the biggest impact?
I think it would have to be when I got married to my wife and we had a family. I mean, we have 3 awesome kids, and I think that's the biggest commitment that I ever made.
I love it.
I'm so happy that I made the commitment.
Oh, that's incredible. And you guys, I know all 3 of his daughters, especially his youngest daughter, Annie, that's playing volleyball at UCSB. And gosh, I tried to get her to play volleyball for me for a few years. And then, but I'm so grateful that it all came around. I'm so I just want to take a minute to acknowledge you and what an incredible man that you are, and the incredible job that you have done with your 3 children, because they are amazing. They are women that hold themselves very high. They respect themselves. And, they really show respect out to that world. So I just want to acknowledge you and Sue for just doing such an amazing job. And someone that I look up to as a parent. I have 2 little crazy boys, and
can't help you with the boys. I'm good with girls, but boys are still a mystery to me.
But still, either way, you've done an amazing job with your kids, and you and Sue are still together. So I just want to acknowledge you guys for that, because that is.
Thank you. We had good role models. Both her parents stayed together, and my parents stayed together, and they were great role models for us. So we're very fortunate, and hopefully, we're helping our kids be good role models and good parents when they get to that age.
Yeah, absolutely. I love your children. They're so fun. They're all 3 different and all so fun. Yes. They're incredible. Yes. So they
are definitely all 3 different, and the house is a little crazy. They're all going to be down here this weekend. We're actually treating them. Our family treat this year is Friday night. We're taking the 3 girls and Nathan, the new son-in-law, or future son-in-law, to see the Brian Setzer Orchestra, his holiday show at Pechanga in Temecula. And so we're getting a limo ride up and back, and it's gonna be fun. Sue and I saw him last year, and it was a lot of fun. And I was telling Sue this week, I said, I'm excited. It's almost as when the kids were young and they loved Santa Claus and Christmas, because I know what they're going to see at this show, and they have never seen it before, and they're just going to be blown away. So I'm excited for this concert. So, that's what we're looking forward to this year. And I'm glad that we have everybody together, and it's going to be wild.
Love it. Well, enjoy the holidays with your family. And again, Erich, thank you so much for your time today and sharing your experience of the Spartan race. And I'm looking forward to your next Spartan race, and want to plan one in San Diego. I know there's one, I think in September or October. That
Jeff spent half of the morning today finding 5 different races. It's not just Spartan races. I've created a monster just because I think I said, I might do another one. He's on it. So I'll probably get roped into another one sooner or later. So hopefully they just get better and better, and I didn't just get lucky and have my first one be the best one.
The weather, I'm going to say the weather conditions probably totally helped you have such a great experience. I know Jeff told me, he's like, yeah, it wasn't that bad, and I just went and worked out afterwards. And I'm like, and anyone that knows Jeff understands, that's just Jeff. He's seriously, and I'm so excited. At one point I'm going to have him come on here and interview him, because he seriously is such a model for just pushing your body to the limits and going further. He just doesn't see that there's a stopping point. And he has a really good balance. The guy is seriously the most Zen person. He meditates every day. We are so fortunate to have him, because he is such a blessing in my life. So very grateful for him. Yeah.
He is very good.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Erich, and have a wonderful holidays, and I will be seeing you soon.
Thank you. My pleasure. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you want to find out more information about Jackson Strength, visit our website, jacksonstrength.com, or subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Jackson Strength, where you will find all the interviews as well as tons of exercises we give to all of our athletes across the world. Be sure to tune back in every Friday where I'll be interviewing my husband, co-founder and owner of Jackson Strength, with his Feel Your Body tip of the week.